Hey y'all, we're back at Proverbs chapter 15, looking at verse 27 today. Whoever is greedy for unjust gain troubles his own household, but he who hates bribes will live. Unjust gain. Talking about greed here. Gaining money, which is not a bad thing biblically. There is just gain. Gaining money in a way that is wrong and takes advantage of other people. Now, when we hear unjust gain and greed, we immediately, we think Wall Street, right? We think politicians. We think those at the top that aren't paying their fair share, blah, blah, blah. Well, as far as I know, there's nobody like that watching these videos. And if there are, don't be corrupt, all right? There's your lesson for the day. But what about for the rest of us who kind of live, down here on the totem pole, who don't work jobs where we're dealing with millions of dollars, but we're, just handling petty cash or things like that? Is it still possible for us to be greedy for unjust gain? Yes, it absolutely is. First of all, it says greedy for unjust gain. You can be broke and yet you can be just as avaricious and desirous of money. You don't care how you get it as any millionaire or billionaire. And you might think, well, if I was there, if I had that much money, I would never do that. But the thing is, yeah, we probably would. And you need to be able to evaluate yourself and see, am I greedy for unjust gain? And the way you evaluate that is, how are you handling the opportunities you have now? How are you handling money now? How are you handling, cash flow as it comes in? And are you being greedy? Are you being deceptive now? Because if you do that with a little, you would do that with a lot. I can go back through every job I've ever had where you could have been greedy for unjust gain. I mean, first of all, I started working out in the kitchen of a restaurant. And I mean, it's as easy as going slow on the job, right? It's as easy going slow or stealing stuff out of the fridge. And, I was 15, right? When you're that young, you try to find little things to cut corners and get paid for work that you're not actually doing. That's unjust gain, right? That's being greedy for unjust gain, not holding up your end of the bargain while expecting to exploit your boss for paying his fair share of the bargain. There was another restaurant that I worked in, and the boss was always trying to manipulate people's time cards so that he wouldn't have to pay them for the full amount. And, that was difficult for me because they would ask me to be complicit in it. They'd be like, all right, well, we need you to, work for these first 10, but don't clock in until after that. And, then that way it'll work this way out for the taxes and your check. And, first of all, it was taking advantage of me, but I mean, that's such a petty little thing, but that's unjust gain. He doesn't want to have to pay out the full amount of the work he's getting from me. I worked as a waiter, right? Where you're taking tables and orders and things like that. And people would find ways to manipulate their tips and manipulate their percentages. And they would ring things up if they knew they could get away with it, that the person wouldn't notice. Or if their tips were low, they wouldn't report their tips. So that way it didn't show up, accurately on the next report, and that they would still get their bonus or whatever it was. Unjust gain. When I was working in a job that was more like hauling junk and sales and things like that, there were folks that would try to get as much out of the job as possible. They wouldn't try to accurately judge how much it would cost to take things away. They would see how much can we get away with. If it would cost $400 to do this, but I can get the guy to pay $600, I'm going to tell him it's $600 every time. That's unjust gain. That's not being a shrewd businessman. That's wrong. That's not right. You're deceiving that person, you're lying, and you're being corrupt yourself. And this could be at whatever area of life that you live in. Whether you're a politician, whether you're a Wall Street executive, whether you're a salesman, or you're working fast food, or whether you're the manager of a company and you're constantly trying to find ways to work out the least possible wage that you have to pay your employees rather than giving them what's fair. When you do that and you're greedy for unjust gain, it says you trouble your own household. The amount of people that get in trouble for stealing money from work, or that make their employees angry by manipulating them, and then it comes back to bite them later, or cheat on their taxes, and then they want to sit and complain about how the system's not fair and everybody does it, but I'm the one that got caught. You be the one who hates a bribe, who hates unjust gain, and refuses to participate. I don't care if I end up getting less money out of this. I'm going to do the right thing, because not only is it moral and it's the right thing to do, it's going to work out better for you in the long run. Those who go about their business in a corrupt way, they don't last. And usually the harder or the bigger they go, the harder they're going to fall when it finally comes. So don't let that be you. I don't care if you're working minimum wage or if you're making millions of dollars a week. Don't be seeking unjust gain. Don't be greedy. Be content with what you have and do what's right, and trust the Lord to take care of you. God bless you.